yours.
All right, great, thanks. I'm going to go really fast. As Mike mentioned, this is about all I talk about, and the reason is because of my background. I was in the military. I went to West Point. I was an intel officer in the Army, and I worked on really classified, secret, dangerous stuff. Missions where we had people that we had to go find the right kind of people, train them, send them on secret and dangerous missions. If they got hurt, if they got messed up, and they got captured, we were going to disavow that they even existed. So we had to work backwards from the goal of whatever it was that that mission was to accomplish. We worked backwards from the goal. Okay, so that's how I think. And now I'm a trial attorney. I went to law school. You do the same thing as an attorney when you go to trial. You want to be able to figure out. You have to figure out what's the goal. What do I have to be able to say to the jury to get them to find for my client based on the evidence? What evidence do I have to get in front of them? So you work backwards from that. And that's what we have to do now. We have to work backwards from the goal. So what's the goal? Okay? So what is it that we've got to do to fix things in the United States? Is it to elect more Republicans? No, it's not. It's to elect better people. And I'm going to teach you how to do that tonight. It just so happens, though, the best vehicle for doing that is the Republican Party, okay? So, I call this the Neighborhood Precinct Committeeman strategy. It's just basic American civics. I learned this in 7th grade in a civics class back in my little hometown in Wisconsin. A semester class on the parties, our two-party system, and how they work. And then I went to Badger Boys State, and I learned it there. And then I've learned since that they don't even teach civics in most schools anymore. And I've looked at the curriculum for civics here in Arizona, and when they get to the point where the kids are supposed to have a discussion on what they can do to change things politically, the curriculum outline says, now let the kids discuss how they're supposed to change things politically. Instead of the teacher telling them this stuff that I'm going to teach you, okay? And that's by design. That's because of that we let the progressives take over our school systems. So it's an answer for taking back your political party. It's the answer for electing conservatives. And it's the most important thing you'll learn about saving your country. So here it is in a nutshell. If I only had a minute, this is what I would tell you. And I'm just going to read this to you, okay? And then you could go home after this. Precinct committeemen are the card-carrying members of a political party. Okay, if you're a precinct committeeman already, raise your hand. Okay, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. People who don't have your hands up, go talk to these people. They'll tell you what I'm going to tell you tonight. They're in the ball game. You guys didn't raise your hands. Politics, you're spectators. You're like football fans. You're maybe in the stadium, but you're not down on the field. And you might talk about politics, but you're not doing politics. The people who are in the real ball game of politics are the people who are the precinct committeemen of the two parties. And you'll see why here in a few minutes. They elect the party leaders, you see, and they're in the best position to get out the vote. Because once you become a precinct committeeman, you get to use the software tools that the party has, that they give to the precinct committeeman, to get out the vote where you live. Okay? So right now, over half of these slots are vacant in the Republican Party. So we go into battle against the Democrats every election cycle with a ground game army that's at less than half strength. So we would fill up all these empty precinct committeeman slots. Now, I wrote this in a nonpartisan way because sometimes I have to speak in a nonpartisan way to a group. But I'm not here on behalf of the Republican Party. I'm here on behalf of myself and my kids. I need you to help me take back this country. Because if we don't do what I'm telling you tonight, if you leave here and don't do this, I can't guarantee we'll save our country, but I'll guarantee you this. If you don't do this, you will lose your country. So, you fill up all the precinct committeeman slots, then you own the party because you get to elect everybody inside the party in the leadership positions. Instead of having Reince Priebus, some wishy-washy guy who can't seem to find his socks in the morning in his drawer, we'd have some hardcore conservative, maybe like me. Okay? So instead of the party being at half strength and ideologically split, it'd become a solidly conservative party with conservative leaders and a full-strength ground game to get out the vote. So if you're a conservative, you need to become a precinct committeeman. What Francine said is exactly right. Use your Tea Party to caucus together, then pivot and go inside the Republican Party, invade it and take it over. It's there for the taking. And if you don't do this, some other group might. And if the rhinos ever figure out what I'm telling you, the game's over with. You'll never get the party back. But here in Arizona, the nice thing is you get elected to the precinct committeeman slot. So we always have a chance to take over the party. So again, what's our goal? Our goal is to elect better people. And why? So that we can, elect better people to take back the government. So to take back the government, what does that really mean? Again, got to elect constitutional conservatives, people who like Cruz, who will follow the Constitution. Now I'm gonna depart here real quick. Today was the first day of the Red State gathering. Redstate.com, I blog there. Ted Cruz was speaking. I was watching it over the internet. He took some questions. He never said the word precinct once. You know why? He doesn't want the status quo now in Texas to change. He doesn't want more conservative, they call them precinct delegates there. He doesn't want more of them there. And the reason is because even he knows that if nothing changes, he'll probably get reelected in 6 years. So why change anything? Because if he got all, Texas is no different than Arizona. Over half of the precinct committeeman slots are vacant. If a whole bunch of conservatives come in, and then those new conservatives think Ted Cruz isn't all that conservative after all, he might lose his next primary election. So that's why incumbents won't talk about this. Now, some of them don't even know about this stuff. But most do. And they won't talk about it because it's not in their self-interest to do so. So we're going to work backwards from this goal, right? So to elect a constitutional conservative, you got to get on the general election ballot. So stepping back from that, how do you get on the general election ballot? Well, you got to win the primary election. So to win the primary, you got to get the most votes in the primary. You get the most votes, and this is the most important election. Most districts are so gerrymandered that, let's say a heavily Republican district. The most important race isn't the general election because the Republicans are probably going to win. The most important race is the primary. So you got to have the best get out the vote effort of all the candidates. If you're a conservative candidate and all of the precinct committeeman slots, or almost all of them, are filled by conservatives, those conservative precinct committeemen can now go get out the vote in the primary. In the primary here in Arizona, about 20% of Republicans turn out for the primary. So if you've got all the precinct committeemen going door to door, getting out the vote for the best, the candidate that they think is the best, and you've endorsed him, you've said, the precinct committeeman of Maricopa County endorsed this guy, like we did with Bill Montgomery over Rick Romney. Bill Montgomery, who had no name recognition, won. And the only reason we were able to endorse him is because 60%, according to the bylaws, of the committee members on the Maricopa County Committee could vote to endorse one Republican over another. You had to get 60% though. We got the bare 60%. Now, probably get 80% because the makeup of the party has changed quite a bit, and I'll show you that in a minute. Because people like Mike and others in this room here, the people who had their hands raised, have become precinct committeemen. So you got to have the greatest number of party precinct committeemen getting out the vote in every precinct. Okay, the precinct committeemen are the best tool for getting out the vote. Going door to door is the best way to get out the vote. In the general election, in my precinct, we got 86% of Republicans to the polls. 86%. And the way we did that is we targeted the ones who never vote very much. And you can get that, see, using this software called GOP Data Center that RNC provides Arizona. And there's better software, but that's what the party provides. it's a database. And it'll tell you on every street where the Republicans live and how often they voted in the last 4 or 5 elections. Well, we just targeted the ones who don't vote very often, like 50% or less. That's 35% of the Republicans. So with 3 or 4 hours work apiece, we've got 12 PC slots. All 12 are filled. They're all 12 are conservatives. We cut the precinct up into little sectors. It only took us 3 hours apiece, maybe 4, to call these people and then put some literature at their door. And we got 86% out. In the Tempe mayoral race, we doubled turnout in the mayor's race in our precinct. And we tried to tell the candidates for mayor and city council to do what we were doing, and their stupid campaign consultants told them, no, we'll do robocalls. We'll do direct mail. That's what works. So, think of it. Everybody says we're a center-right country, right? Well, then why aren't we electing constitutional conservatives? It's because there's not enough constitutional conservatives that are involved in a political party. And the one that we should be involved in is the Republican Party, because all you got to do is read the party platforms. One is for socialism, one is for capitalism. One is for liberty, one is for regimentation and government regulation. It's real simple. There's no choice. And I'm guilty as charged. I didn't do this until 2007. I moved over here from California. I figured, hey, I'm in Goldwater country. Man, it's great here. The party must be really strong. And then things like this started happening. People like Janet Napolitano gets elected governor. How the hell that happened? And then she wasn't doing anything about the border, so I got involved because of the border issue. And then when the Marxists got elected to the presidency,